Okay. Hi, Adrian. Would you like to introduce yourself to Patrick and Charlie?
Yes, I already know because he's the new student when I live in Nome.
Oh,
I know
okay.
him. Yes.
Oh, so you met each other.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe.
How about Patrick?
Oh, okay. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I know him from my friend Hans
Oh.
because Hans my classmates in 2019.
Uh-huh.
Then he introduced Patrick to me.
Oh,
Nice
good.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so today I would like to show you how to build an AR1 model. Okay, so I have 3 time series data for you. The first one is the exchange rates. Okay, and what I use is the exchange rate of USD against the euro dollar. Okay, so it is in the expression of the number of USD per euro. Okay, and the second one is the GDP data of the US. And then the third one is the S&P 500 index closing price. Okay, all of them are obtained from the St. Louis Fed. Okay, okay, so let's have them downloaded. Okay, and then after you have downloaded, okay, you can check the data. Okay, the first one is the exchange rate. As you know that the euro came in 1999, okay, January of 1999, okay, and we have obtained the daily data, okay, since January 4th, 1999. Okay, and then the second one, GDP. Okay, GDP usually the bureau just collect the data and publish the data every quarter. Okay, so the GDP is quarterly. Okay, and it has been seasonalized. Okay, so data like the GDP, okay, or CPI, okay, these data are monthly or quarterly data. Okay, they are not intraday data, so usually we need to seasonalize them. Okay, and however, since we have downloaded the data and they have been seasonalized, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay, and all of them are in a unit of billion. Okay, so that's huge. Okay, like the day, okay, January 1st, 1947. Okay, the GDP in the USA is $243.164 billion. Okay, and then you can check the latest data. Okay, 2020 October 1st. Okay, this is the last season. Okay, the fourth quarter of 2020, and the GDP of the US is 21,487 billion. Okay, then let's check the last one, S&P 500. Okay, this is the data, okay, obtained from the S&P 500 index. Okay, and since this is a daily data, okay, we do not need to seasonalize them. Okay, and the earliest date we can trace back is 2011, March 25th. Okay, all of them are closing price. Okay, and the first thing I would like to do is, okay, let's go to the discussion forum. Okay, so I would like to do 4 regressions. Okay, the first one is we talk about the effect of the lagged GDP. Okay, so lagged GDP, because GDP is in quarterly, so the lagged GDP, it is the last quarter. Okay, how about the effect of previous quarter GDP on the current exchange rates? Okay, and the other effect we would like to talk about is the effect of lagged exchange rates on GDP. Okay, and then the third and fourth equation I would like for you to do. Okay, let's just use the daily data. Okay, let's talk about the effect of exchange rates on stock prices. And the other one is the effect of stock prices on exchange rates. Okay. Any questions? Okay, so what do you think? What do you think about the effect of lagged exchange rates on GDP?
I ever do this kind of analysis when I want to checking the return. Return, for example, for S&P 500. Before we doing the regression analysis, for example, the simple regression, for example, for point 1 and 2, should we convert the data becomes return variable in order to run the our data. Before running the data, should we convert our data, our actual data becomes the return value, for example.
Confirm the data.
Yes.
Open our. Okay, I have downloaded from the St. Louis Fed. Okay, let's go to the website. Okay, Fred. Yeah. Okay, so you can see the first one. Okay, Federal Reserve Economic Data, St. Louis Fed. Okay, and then exchange rates. Okay, the one I use is this. Okay, US dollars against euro. And then I choose maximum. Yeah. And as you can see that in the beginning, okay, the euro is a little bit weak, okay, and it has a decreasing trend. And then starting from 2002, okay, it has an upward sloping trend, okay. And the highest spike is during 2008 and 2010, okay, and and then after that, okay, from the time series, okay, it is, yeah, going down. Okay. Okay, and then let's go to any questions about the exchange rates data? Oh, and yeah, and then you can just use the download. Okay. If you would like to use the Excel or CSV or image or PowerPoint or PDF, okay. And the one I choose is Excel and CSV. So Andrew, are you okay? And then let's go to GDP. Okay, gross domestic product. Okay, so the unit is in billion of dollars. Okay. And this is the GDP for the US. All of the data having seasonalized. Okay, the earliest data we can trace back is 1947, the fourth quarter. Okay, and the last one is the fourth quarter of 2020. Okay, so from the GDP, you can see that most of the time, okay, the production is increasing. Okay, the economy presents very well. Okay, but there is a little bit okay, recession, it has been depicted. Maybe that's around the global financial crisis, okay, around 2008 and 2009, okay, and also the one maybe in the beginning of 2020 due to the coronavirus pandemic. Okay. Okay, and this is the one I have downloaded, okay, the GDP. And then the last one, S&P 500. Okay. Okay. And this is in daily, the frequency is daily. Okay. And I just click maximum. Okay. And the earliest day I can trace back is March 25th, 2011. Okay. If you would like to find more data about the S&P 500, we can try Yahoo Finance. Okay, so the symbol for S&P 500, okay, the first is a square goal and an SPX, okay, that's the quote, the symbol for S&P 500 index, okay. And then let's go to historical data. Okay, the frequency we choose daily, okay, the time period. And let's choose max. Okay. And then apply. Is it working? Oh, yeah, it is running, I think so. Some request failed. Okay. For some reasons, I cannot download data from the Yahoo Finance.
Maybe it is about the start date and end date.
Mm-hmm.
It should be this.
Still, maybe that's due to some time lag. I cannot obtain any data from the Yahoo Finance. But anyway, I have downloaded from the St. Louis Fed.
Would you send us the Excel file?
Oh yeah, it has been I have posted on the iLearning. Yeah, it is on iLearning. Here, the announcement.
Oh, sorry, thank you.
Oh, no problem. Okay, so let's see. Okay, the first thing we need to do is to run two regressions. One is the lagged exchange rate on GDP. The other one is the lagged GDP on the exchange rates. Okay. So what do you think? If we talk about the effect of exchange rates on the GDP. According to Kenshin's model, if the USD depreciates against the the euro, okay, then is it good for the economy of the US if the USD depreciates? Okay, so let's see. If it depreciates, suppose that the US is export oriented. Okay.
If the USD depreciate against the euro,
Oh, the euro. Okay. EUR. Okay. When the USD depreciates against the euro, okay, let's suppose that the US exports okay, increase due to the USD depreciation. And the imports, if the imports are affected less than the exports, okay. So anyway, the net exports of the US are improved. Okay, then go back to Kenshin's model. Okay, the aggregate demand is the summation of consumption expenditures, investment expenditures, government expenditures, and exports. Okay, if we assume that okay, the consumption is the same, investment is the same, government is the same. Okay, now with a higher net exports, the aggregate demand should be increased. Okay, and in equilibrium, the equilibrium output, okay, should be the case that the aggregate supply equals aggregate demand. And because of the improved aggregate demand, okay, the aggregate supply should be increasing, so we have a higher output level. Okay, so that's the effect we expect, that if the USD depreciates against the euro, then we should see a higher output. Okay, so now let's check if, after we run the regression, if that's the case. But in order to do that, we need to convert the exchange rate into the same frequency as the GDP. The GDP is in quarterly. However, the exchange rate is in daily. Okay, so we need to convert the exchange rates into quarterly data. Okay, we can do that by using the eViews. Okay, so now let me show you. Okay, so do you have any questions? Okay, so now let me show you how to use the eViews to convert the daily data into quarterly data. Okay, so let's open eViews. Okay. And I would like to choose open a foreign file because now I would like for eViews to read the Excel file. Okay, so I'm opening a foreign file, okay, such as Excel or CSV. Okay, I click that, okay, and then eViews asks me, okay, what is the route, okay, for me to obtain the file, okay, and I told that, okay, actually I have downloaded all the the Excel file, okay, on the desktop, okay, I have downloaded to here, okay, and okay, so this is the exchange rate file. Okay, and then I just say, okay, go next. Next. Finish. Okay, so here we go. Okay, that's the exchange rate file. And this is the exchange rate series. Questions?
How about the missing data? We have since we have missing data.
Uh-huh.
How about the missing data? Should we consider to remove the missing data, or we?
There are two ways. We can remove that, or we just compute the median rate or the average rate. Yeah. So and then we use the average rate or the median rate to replace. Yeah. So would you like to use the median rate or the average rate?
Maybe average. Maybe using average. Average.
Average.
Average.
Oh, average. Okay. Okay. Let's do average. Okay. So let's go to the series. Click it. Okay. And then view. Okay. And let's use the descriptive statistics. And stats table. Okay. And then we have, okay, so from the descriptive statistics, okay, it tells us the mean of the exchange rate, which is 1.200065. Okay. Okay, this is the average rate. And then let's go back to the Excel file. Okay, and then we replace the missing rate. Okay, for example, we have seen a missing rate in 1999, January 18. Okay, and then we just use 1.200065. Okay, let's replace that. And then another one is in February 15, 1999. And then another one, May 31st, 1999. Okay. July 5th, 1999.
That is the average.
Yeah, that's the mean. Yeah, the average. Okay. And then October 11th. Okay. Then November 11th. Okay. November 25th. Okay. And January 17th. Okay. And then February 21st. And May 29th, 2000. July 4th, 2000.
Can you please show me how to get the average using eView?
Oh, okay. Okay, this one.
Yeah.
Okay, do you know how to read the Excel file?
Yes.
Okay, so now you are here. Oh, you are here. Okay, and then let's go to double click this and then view.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the third one, descriptive statistics and tests. And then I choose stats table.
Oh.
Okay, and then it just provides me the mean, median, maximum, minimum.
Thank you. Thank you.
So September 4th, 2000. And then October 9th, 2000. And then November 23rd, 2000. December 25th, 2000. January 1st, 2001. And January 15, 2001.
You can filter all the NI value and then copy paste the number into all the NI value instead of copy one by one.
Oh, okay. It's better, faster.
You can ship the whole thing.
Oh,
Yeah, you can.
oh. Let me check if there are any missing values that I haven't replaced yet. Since now. Okay, so I have taken care of the missing values. Okay, now let's check GDP. Okay, there is no missing value for the GDP data. Okay. Okay, let me do one more thing. Okay, the previous one I have written. Okay, the exchange rate I have written. Okay, in the eViews file. Okay, this one I didn't take care of the missing value, but now I have another file that has been taken care of the missing value. So let me just reread the data. This one. Okay. For this series, I have taken care of all the missing value. Okay.
Question: Can instead of like, can I use like one Excel file in different tab?
Yeah. Okay. So again, this is the daily data, but I would like to convert it to quarterly data. So what I should do is, okay, I click the new page, okay, and then choose specify by frequency. Okay, and here you see the frequency. and then I choose quarterly. Okay, and then click OK. Okay, and then I copy the original Excel exchange rate file, copy, and then here I choose paste spatial. Okay, and so the pattern will have a new star in the back. I paste as link, date with frequency conversion. Okay, so after the conversion, you can see that now it becomes the quarterly data. Okay, so now the exchange rate is in quarterly after the conversion. Okay, and then I keep in mind, I just rename the sheet. I tell myself that this is the exchange rate file. However, after conversion, now it is quarterly. Okay, so after conversion, this is a quarterly data, quarterly exchange rate. And then I just select all of them and copy. Okay, I use unformatted. Oh, sorry, I might use formatting method. Okay, and then I go to the Excel file. Okay. Let me go to a new Excel file. Okay.
So we got 90 quarter.
The one I got is 81 quarter.
I think we got like the fourth quarter of that 2020 or so.
That's the conversion one.
Yeah.
29. Yeah, 89.
Yeah.
89 is right. Okay, and then I copy all the conversion. Okay, 89 exchange rate observations from the eViews. Okay, and I copy it to a new Excel file. Okay. And I give it a name. Okay, let me just delete the first 3 rows. And I give the series a name. This is a exchange rate. Okay, that's the USD against EUR quarterly. And then I go back to the GDP file. Okay, this is the GDP file. And copy it to the one that I have. Okay. The GDP, okay. As you can see, that GDP, there are a lot of observations. The earliest one we can trace back to 1947. However, for the exchange rate, okay, that's 1999. So maybe we should delete, okay, the GDP data prior to 1999, first quarter. So let's do that. We need to delete the data before 1999 first quarter. So here we go. But one more thing, okay. As you can see that the GDP, they are seasonalized. However, for the exchange rate, it is not seasonalized. Okay, so I need to do one more thing, okay, from the eViews. Okay, I need to ask eViews to seasonalize the data, the exchange rate. Okay, so what I should do is I go to proc, okay, and then seasonal adjustment. So are you okay? Charlie, have you seen proc? Yeah, yeah. Oh, proc. Uh-huh.
I think it's my version. Yes.
Oh no.
Something like this is the different version.
Oh, is it version 8?
Version 8, yes.
Oh, yeah, mine is version 8. Okay, then let me check. Let me see. Oh, we do not want to have group. Okay, just click this and then prompt. Yeah, seasonal.
Sorry,
No problem. How about you, Andrew? Are you okay?
Yes, no.
Patrick, are you okay?
Yeah. I have eView on my computer, so.
Oh. Okay,
Tell me,
and
sorry, tell me, where can I get eView for my computer?
Not for Mac.
No.
Not for Mac. Do you have a Windows computer? I can send you a file.
Yes, I have a window.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. You will send it.
usually I would like to choose, okay, the Census X13. And I click it, okay, and then just transform, okay. Okay. Okay, and then after seasonalization, okay, you will see a new series, new generated series. Okay. So now the exchange rate has a new name, USD EUR underscore D11. Okay. So this series has been seasonalized. Yeah, so this one has been seasonalized and also it has been converted to the quarterly data.
What does seasonalized mean?
Okay. For example, no value. Okay, let me replace that. Okay.
You can speak loudly. Yeah,
speak
and
loudly.
I will get the new value.
Oh, no problem. Okay, so usually, like thank you. In the U.S., the last quarter, okay, due to the Thanksgiving holiday, Christmas, and New Year's Eve, okay, so the sales in the last quarter, the fourth quarter is a little bit low as compared to the first quarter, second quarter, and third quarter. Yeah. So in this case, we need to do seasonalize to adjust
So
the
like
data.
like like accounting.
Yeah.
Like they have to account for the next season, not in the quarter 4, but account for the quarter 1.
I would say they just consider they take into account due to the holidays, and then they just recalculate.
Yeah. Oh, I
For
understand.
example, like in Indonesia and Vietnam, do you celebrate Chinese New Year?
Yeah.
Or Lunar New Year, or some religious holiday?
Yes.
Yeah, so because of this holiday or events, the sales are usually low during the holiday or events. Yeah, so when we look at Indonesia's data or Vietnam's data, okay, or Gambia's data, we need to do seasonalized. But that's only for the monthly or quarterly data. If it is a daily data, then we don't need to do seasonalized. Adrian, are you okay?
Let me get a new battery.
Oh, okay.
Yes. We should take a break.
Oh, okay. Oh, take a break. So how about in Indonesia? Because what I heard is that you also. Thank you. Okay, so after conversion and seasonalization, okay, let's copy the exchange rate to the Excel file. Okay. And I will give the series a new name. Okay, it is USD EUR. Now it is seasonalized and it is quarterly. Okay, let me just delete the first 4 columns. Okay, so now in the sheet, okay, only 3 columns. Okay, the first is observation date. The second column is the GDP seasonalized. The third column is the exchange rate, seasonalized and quarterly data. And let me check if there are any missing value. Okay. Oh, so for the exchange rate, it has one more observation. Okay, let me just delete it. Okay. So for now, both series, GDP and the exchange rate, okay, both of them have the same number of observation, okay, 89 observations. Okay. And then I will give it a name. I will call that GDP and exchange rate. Charlie, are you okay?
I'm busy. The GDP data only ITI observable, right?
Yeah, 88. Yeah, for exchange rate has 89, so let's just delete the last one.
Okay.
Mhm. How about you, Adrian? 88. 88 observations for both. Okay, and then let's go to the e-views. New page, click it. Okay, and then let's choose load or import work file. Okay, and then I tell the e-views that I would like to choose the Excel file that has GDP and exchange rates. Okay, next, finish. Okay, so now in the sheet of e-views, okay, I have C, okay, and then GDP SA, okay, that's the GDP after seasonalized, the observation day, residual, and the USD EUR, Okay, and this series has been seasonalized and also it has been converted to quarterly data. Okay. Okay. And then now let me show you how to have a AR1 model. Okay. So let's click quick. Okay, so what is an AR1 model? Okay, for example, I would like to study the effect of previous exchange rate on the current GDP. Okay. So that is GDP is the dependent variable. Okay. It has an intercept, let me call that A, okay, and the slope coefficient for the lagged exchange rates. And it is lagged, what it means is, okay, it is the previous quarter, okay. What happened to previous quarter's exchange rate, okay, and what is its effect on the current GDP. Okay, and this is time series data. Okay, so that's the equation. Okay, and I would like to know about the coefficients, okay, slope coefficient of B. Okay, and it tells me, okay, if the exchange rate, okay, appreciates or depreciates for 1%, okay, how about the GDP? Is it going to depreciate or is it going to go up or go down? Okay, and what is the percentage? Okay, so that's what we would like to find out. Okay. So now let's use the eViews. To see, okay, what happened. Okay. Okay, so now let's go to quick. And the bottom two is the estimation equation. Okay, the method we are using is least square method. Okay. So the dependent variable is the GDP. Okay. And it is a seasonalized GDP. Okay. And there is a intercept. Okay. In eViews, the intercept is C. Okay. And then the explanatory variable, okay, is the USD, EUR, okay, seasonalized and quarterly data. And we would like to know about the previous seasons quarterly data. Okay. The last season's exchange rate, okay, if it increases or decreases by 1%, okay, what happens to the GDP?
Wait. So that's why you add down minus 1 is for the lag?
Yeah, that's lag.
Or
Yeah.
you put it.
Yeah, the parenthesis. And negative 1 means that's the previous one. Yeah, previous one. If you would like to know about the previous 2 quarters, okay, what you can do is, okay, inside the parenthesis, -1 to -2. Okay, so it will give you the equation. Okay, so in this equation, there are 2 explanatory variables. The first one is the previous quarter's exchange rate, and the next one is previous 2 quarters. Yeah. Okay, so let me let's do first, yeah, the previous quarter.
GDP as a
Yeah, that's,
GDP quarterly, and then US quarterly seasonal 5.
yes,
Okay, we will have 2 GDP and exchange rate seasonal 5.
only, yeah, equation, GDP, the GDP, seasonalized. Oh.
GDP already seasonal 1.
Yeah, it has been seasonalized.
Yeah.
And then
This is
the
quarterly.
exchange rate. Yeah, but C, we put C before the exchange rates.
Okay.
Mhm.
CDP.
Yes. Yeah, and
That one
-1. Yeah. And then, okay.
0.4584.
Mm-hmm.
88,000.
Yeah, because the GDP, yeah, usually it has more than 3 digits. Yeah, it is a large value. Okay, so what we can do, the other thing we can do is, okay, we can take natural log of the GDP. Okay. Okay, so what we do is click object, generate series. Okay.
You want to see?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. And let's give it a name, ln GDP, okay, equals log, okay, GDP. So you are telling the eViews to generate a new series, okay, and you would like to take natural log of the GDP, okay, and that's the equation, okay, and after you take the natural log, okay, the GDP has a new name, which is ln GDP, okay, and okay. Okay, so let's do the regression again, quick estimation. Okay, so now the dependent variable is the natural log GDP and and series and then exchange rate USD EUR quarterly, -1 in the parentheses. Okay, so the coefficient tells us that, okay, a slope coefficient for the exchange rate is 0.4895. Okay, is it significant? Okay, from the t-test statistic, yes, it is significant. Okay, because it is greater than 1.96, and the p-value tells us that it is very significant. Okay, because it is lower than 1%. Okay, is it a good model? The R-squared tells us that, okay, it can fit the data for about 10%, 10.55%. Okay, the adjusted R-squared tells us that, it fits the data for about 9.50%.
Only 10% is good.
For macroeconomics, I would say, it's okay. It's okay.
R squared 10%.
Yeah, a lot of it depends upon the reviewer. Some reviewers said it is low. Yeah, some say maybe we can increase to above 50%. Yeah, it is more than 50%.
You have to like test various tests to check, right?
Yes. Okay, so but anyway, from the AR1 model, okay, the exchange rate, okay, the previous quarter exchange rate, okay, if it increases by 1%, okay, the GDP might increase by 0.4895%. Yeah. Okay, so what is the exchange rate? That's the expression is USD per euro. So if it increases, what does it mean? It means now the $1 can have more USD. Okay, so what it means is that the USD depreciates. Okay, but from our model, it tells us that when the USD depreciates, the GDP will increase by 0.4895%. Okay, so it is consistent with the Heng-Shen model. Okay, so that's what the AR1 tells us. Okay, the regression results tell us that when the USD depreciates against the euro dollar, okay, the US GDP will increase by about 0.4895%.
Actually, can you see that the camera?
Oh. Do you need me to write it in the middle?
Move the computer. Let's write in the middle. I think it should be 48% because it's in decimal. So if you want to convert it to percentage, you multiply it by 100%. So it now become 48%.
Oh.
Yeah.
But isn't this log, so it's different?
That's log. Yeah. So the log GDP, yeah, you are right. The log GDP,
Log GDP.
yeah, the log GDP.
The percentage should be 48.
Yeah, the log GDP increases by 0.4895%. Yeah. So if we would like to know what is the 1% depreciation of USD, okay, cause the real GDP to increase, we might need to convert it back to
Normal value.
normal value.
How about we start with the normal GDP? I think when the normal GDP is not confining with the theory, then that's the time we can change it to log. Use normal.
Okay, let's have another equation to see. Okay, if we do not do the log, okay, let's see what happened. The normal GDP, okay, as the dependent variable, and the exchange rate. The lagged exchange rate is used as an explanatory variable. Oh, sorry. Okay, then what happens right now? Okay, so now it tells us that if the exchange rate depreciates by 1%, the GDP will increase by 5449.924. Is this significant? Yes, according to the p-value, it is significant at 5%.
And the R square is what?
But if we look at like the greater scheme of things, then because the exchange values is counted from 0.999, 0.9 to 1.5%. So 1 unit of this is very large. So one unit of this is very large. It's affect 5,000. If in context, it's not that difficult to see this will happen. So I don't think it's a big problem for number to get this big, but in this context, it's not a big problem.
Oh, so you mean either in the real value or after we take the natural log?
Because the US euro have a very small,
Yeah, it is very small. It's
very small
yeah,
compared to the
between 0
GDP,
to 2.
to the
Yeah.
GDP value.
Yes.
From here, it's 0.7 to 1.3.
Mhm.
So it's not that big. And when we go to the GDP is go to $10,000 to $20,000. So in this context, I think this is appropriate.
Mhm.
And the elsewhere is not that high.
Yeah, it is low. If you use the real value, then the R square is low. But what? Oh, Adrian has something to say.
The square will be low since we only using one dependent, one independent. If we have more independent variable, the square will be higher.
Yes. Yeah.
If we
Yeah, you're
incorporate the
right.
third panel, like we have 3 data set, right?
Yes. Yeah. And the other one, the
S&P.
third series is stock price. Yeah. Yeah. You are right. If we add one more explanatory variable, that might increase the R square. But the problem is that for the quarterly data, we only have 88 observations. If we add one more explanatory variable, okay, we might decrease the degree of freedom. Even though we have higher R square, but we sacrifice the degree of freedom. Yes, yeah, that's one thing we also need to
We
consider.
have daily data for the
Stock.
exchange rate.
Yes.
Only the GDP we have quarterly data. Can we use the quarterly data but we divide it into 30 days? So can we get the daily data for the GDP?
No, but some scholars what they do is okay for the whole 3 months. Okay, all the GDP are the same. We can convert it. Yeah.
The same unit for the 3-month period.
Yes, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah,
We can do that. Would you like to try that? Because the exchange rate is daily. Okay, whereas the GDP is quarterly. Okay, we can just convert the quarterly data into daily data. But what we do is all the 3 months, okay, each day has the same GDP. Yeah, that's one thing we can do.
I would need to do some Excel wizardry to get that. And the stock data are not clean.
Or the stat, yeah. So we need to read the stock data and calculate the mean value for the stock data, and then replace the missing data, the missing value with the average rate of the stock data. So, okay, now I have raised the stock data closing price to the E-views. Okay, and then I ask the E-views to calculate the mean value. Okay, so for the S&P 500, okay, the mean value is 2228.392. Okay, and then let's go back to the Excel file for the S&P 500. Okay, let me sort the data. So for the NA, the missing one, okay, I replace all of them with 2228.392.
15th of March 2011.
Okay, so I have taken care of the missing value. So for the S&P 500, the earliest date I can trace back to is 2011, March 25th. Okay. And for the exchange rate, okay, after, yes,
We need to delete the excess data. So we got 2,601
Mhm.
observable.
Okay, so what we can do, for the exchange rate data, we delete the observations before 2011, okay, 2011, March 25th. So now let me have a new Excel file. Okay, so now in my new sheet, okay, I now have two series. One is for the exchange rate, okay, that's daily exchange rate, and I did not seasonalize it, okay. The other one is the S&P 500 that I did not seasonalize it, okay. And in order to have consistent observation date, okay, I delete the observation for the exchange rate, okay, before 2011 March 25th. Okay. But for the S&P 500 data, okay, I have more observations. So I just delete the observations for the S&P 500 after 2021, March 15. Okay. Okay, now let's have the GDP.
We have to copy manually.
For the GDP.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think
Uh-huh.
I can do some Excel, but it's not worth it.
Or we can ask EViews to do that.
Oh.
Let's see. For the GDP, let me specify the day. Oh, okay, 5 days a week, daily data. Oh, sorry, my bad. Let me do that again. Okay. For the GDP, okay, that's quarterly. Yeah, it starts from 1999 to 2020. Okay, specify the date daily data 5 days a week. Okay, and then I copy the GDP data to the one that I specify the conversion, pace ratio. So, okay, here we
7 days
go.
or 5 days?
Now 5740, right?
No, we are 7 days or 5 days a week.
Oh, the one I use is 5 days a week.
Oh.
Okay, so you can open the series, then you can see that after conversion, what eViews does is that for the whole 3 months, okay, every day has the same GDP. Okay.
We start the 25th of March.
Oh,
We need to copy this, right?
oh, the one I use. Can I check your reviews?
No, this is GDP 5.
Oh, that's original GDP file.
This is the original title is I schedule 5 days a week.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it has been observation.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, have converted.
Yeah.
Oh, but yours is greater than me. Oh, I see. Oh, you start from 1947.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
the
yeah,
one
yeah.
I start from 1999. Okay, no worries. Okay, so we copy the series. Okay, now let's copy the conversed series to the Excel.
How many variables is that?
3. Now there are 3 variables.
No, how many observable?
For mine, okay, let's see. Because for the exchange rate and S&P 500, the day starts from 2011, March 25th. Okay. So let me check. How many observations? $2,601.
Okay.
Okay, so for my GDP, okay, I just delete the observations before 2011, March 25th. Oh, and for my GDP data, because the last day is 2020 December 1st. Yeah, December 31st. Okay, so consistent data, I will have to delete the observation for exchange rates and stock prices. Okay, after the 2020 December 31st. Okay, so all the series, okay, exchange rates, S&P 500, and GDP, okay, they have been taken good care of. Okay, now let's have a new name for the file. Okay, I will call that GDP, exchange rates, and stock price.
The GDP, we only have GDP until Jan.
2020, December 31st.
So our variable now is only 25,251.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me check if I have this. Yes. Yeah, 2551. Yeah, 2550. 2550. Okay, and then let's go to eViews. Okay, let's load, import the new file. Okay, the one I'll name it as GDP exchange rate and stock price. Next. Okay, finish. Okay, here we go. So we have 3 series, okay, GDP, S&P 500, and USD EUR. For each of the series, there are 25, 50 observations. Okay, so would you like to take natural log for the GDP and S&P 500?
Can we create a log column over the Excel file?
Yeah, you can do that and then and just import to the eViews. That would be okay. Okay, so let's generate series for, let's take natural log for both GDP and S&P 500. Okay. So for GDP, I give it a name, LNGDP. Okay. Equals log, a parenthesis, GDP. Okay, so after I take the natural log, okay, the series is called LNGDP. Okay, the other one, okay, object, general series. Okay. Now I would like to take natural log for the S&P 500. Okay, so I name it as LN S&P 500. Okay, S&P 500 equals log, parenthesis, S&P 500. Okay. Okay, so which one would you like to use as the dependent variable? The GDP?
Yeah, GDP.
Okay. So GDP is the dependent variable, and for the explanatory variables, okay, one is the exchange rates, the other one is the S&P 500. Okay. So LNGDP, it has a intercept, okay, and 2 explanatory variables. The first one is the stock price, okay, LNSP 500. Okay, let's see what previous day's stock price, okay, affects the GDP, and the other one is the exchange rates. Okay, how the exchange rate one day before affects the GDP. Okay. All the variables, Okay, all the explanatory variables are very significant. Okay.
91%.
Yeah, so now we have a 91.69% R squared. So it is a very good model. This model just fits the data very well. Okay, so the stock. Okay, if the stocks, yesterday's stock, if it increased by 1%, then our GDP will increase. Okay, and for the exchange rates, okay, if previous day's exchange rate, the USD depreciates. Okay, in this case, the GDP now decreases. Why? But now we have a very good model. Maybe that's because after conversion, the GDP, after conversion, okay, for every 3 months, okay, actually we have a stagnated GDP. In this case, the GDP is very stagnated every 3 months. Okay, maybe that's the reason we get a very good model.
However, how about the impact of the exchange rate to GDP? The signs would be positive in theory, like here. We said when USD depreciate by 1%, what happened to the GDP? It increases. But in this case, it is decreasing instead.
Yeah, but okay, so what I wrote on the blackboard, that's the case if the economy is export-oriented. Yeah, so if it is export-oriented, then the domestic currency depreciation will be good, will benefit the economy. Okay, but I don't know. But when we just regress the GDP with the exchange rate, it is consistent with Keynesian's model. But now after we add one more variable, the stock price, okay, it seems to us that maybe the U.S. economy is not very export-oriented. Okay. Or what else can you think of? Why now we have a contrary results after we add one more variable?
In my opinion, depend on their government policy. For example, if they put the import-led growth, maybe the result will be positive or negative. I mean, in this case, they using the export-led growth rather than the import-led growth in the economic of the America, maybe from the policy perspective. Because we do not consider the foreign direct investment, because there are several international trade variables such as foreign direct investment, and then GDP, and then several stock market that listed in the Wall Street.
What is the difference between stock price and the exchange rate? I don't think they have much difference. The stock price,
I think stock price have very big.
very big, but they have impact. Exchange rate have impact on stock prices.
Actually, according to Dornbusch model, Dornbusch. What they said is that when the exchange rate, if the local currency depreciates, actually it will increase. It will be good for the economy's real GDP, and hence the trade balance of the economy, and that will also benefit the stock price of firms. That's what Dornbusch said. So what he said is that exchange rate, will benefit the stock market.
So it means if exchange rate increases, stock market also increases.
Yes.
So maybe the problem here is multicollinearity. These two things, they go hand in hand. They affect GDP with the same effect. So it's going to be the problem of multicollinearity.
That's
That's why. Because we can always exchange one for the other. If exchange rate is absent, we can use stock price in the place of exchange rate. So, but if we bring the two, probably because of their multicollinearity, they are related.
Oh, yeah,
This is why
yeah.
exchange rate here is negative.
Yeah, you are right.
So
I think that like exchange rate only explain the import export of like of part of the GDP, but there's also internal trading. GDP also contain like company buying from each other and generally internally that happen within the US. So the like Patrick said, they are multicollinearity. So the S&P 500 might contain the US. Also might contain both like internal and external. External indicator as well. So I think it could be run just S&P 500 to see.
Oh, just S&P file, S&P and no exchange rate.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, only S&P.
Yeah, it will have a positive effect.
Let's see Austria increase.
Oh, R-squared goes down a little bit. Okay, it is now 90%. However, yeah, when the stock increases, what happens?
Something.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, when stock price increases, the GDP increases.
Yeah.
Yeah, by 0.34%. Okay.
It's not that. I thought it would be 1%. It's not that big.
Would you like to check the exchange rates?
No, I'm looking at the
I guess
exchange
you check
rate.
that.
Oh, so your exchange rate.
Yeah, this one has the exchange rate, not 1%.
Oh, yeah, this one I only run the regression for S&P 500 and GDP.
So, but it's not wrong for somebody to substitute the stock price with exchange rate, since they are positively related, and one depends on the other. Like stock price depends on exchange rate. Even though stock prices is internal, but people outside in foreign countries can still buy US stocks. Yeah, so I guess if I am the one, I can use stock prices, for example, to represent the exchange rate, check the impact on GDP.
So you might just take the exchange rate out.
Yeah.
You will just focus on the effect of stock price on the GDP.
Yeah, that is in the absence of exchange rate. But here we have exchange rate, and then we see before it agree with Keynesian's model. But in the event that it is absent, since they are correlated, then you can always use the stock price. But if you use both of them, then we will have the problem of multicollinearity.
Oh yes, you are
Because they
right.
yeah.
Because these two variables they interact
They
with
interact,
each
yeah.
other a lot. Yes. Okay. How about you, Adrian?
Yeah, sometimes when we want to test the model, we're using this kind of software to test the model, to test the theory. But sometimes we must to take care with the assumption of the theory.
Yes.
For example, that my friend talked before that, sometimes the variable that have identity, identity relationship will become the multicollinearity problem.
Yes.
But we should, in our paper or in our writing, we should consider the assumption of the theory. I think several variables can be used to will be run in the software. And then we should consider the assumption for its theory. Sometimes we using several variables in one running data, but we should consider whether the theory using a certain assumption. Sometimes the result is very different with the theory, but sometimes the reviewer, the author, should provide the reason that why the result is different, very different with the theory, actually.
Yeah, you are right.
But should we go just like whichever model have a higher adjusted R-square, we should go with that model, or like because like the model would the exchange rate have the highest R-square we can achieve, so that is the best fitting. Maybe maybe there is a small multi-currency problem between the exchange rate and S&P, but maybe the exchange rate also affect the GDP in some other way that not connected to the S&P. So I think that even though it looks very familiar, but we should use just as well as our standard to count to see which model is then adjusted.
Oh, yeah, you are also right, but yeah, sometimes if we will have a very high R square, that might be due to spurious problem. That arises from the multilinearity. Yeah, when these two independent variables are very correlated to each other. Yeah, we might end up having a very high R square. Yeah, so yeah, Adrian is correct.
That's
Yeah,
why
we need to have some assumptions. Yeah, and be careful of that. Yeah, so that's why on today's homework, I just asked you to put one independent variable. Yes.
We have a homework today.
Oh, yes. It's here.
for the homework, Professor, should be using the recent data that have already been corrected in this class today.
Oh, yeah. Let's just use, okay, for the first two, okay, we need to use the one that have taken care of the missing values, and convert the daily data to quarterly.
So Professor will send again the data that have.
Okay. Let me just post again. Okay, the one that I have taken care of the missing values.
The green data.
Hey, you can just post the one that we already filtered.
So we just say that if all value doesn't change, then one additional units of GDP will affect the one additional units of exchange rate will affect how much units of GDP, just that.
Okay. Do you want me to have another
Yes.
announcement?
Yes, for the clean data.
Oh, clean data. So do you also need the data that I put GDP and exchange rates together, and the other one, the last one is
Yes,
Oh,
all the data that we
Oh,
have.
all of
I
them.
have all the data in my computer, so you can do it.
okay, all of them.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
all of them.
Oh, okay, all of them.
People like me, I have not yet installed.
Okay. So I'll post these two Excel file. Okay. All of them are, yeah, all of them have the. Let me check. Okay, for this one. Yeah, this is quarterly. This is quarterly, and they are seasonalized. And this one. Oh, this one are daily data. And yeah, for the GDP, yeah, it has been converted to daily data. Okay. Okay, I will just send you these two files. And then for exercise, okay, yeah, you can use the first Excel file to run the two regressions, the effect of lagged GDP on exchange rates quarterly. And the second one, the effect of lagged exchange rates on GDP, also quarterly. And for the third and fourth regressions, okay, let's use the daily data to run the effect of lagged exchange rates on stock prices and the effect of lagged stock prices on exchange rates. Okay, so what do you think? What's the relationship between stock prices and exchange rates? Do you agree with Dornbusch model? According to him, when the exchange rate increases, the stock price will also increase.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
For me, it depends.
It depends.
Depend on the what kind of exchange rate we use.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes the exchange rate in another economy will be different.
Mhm.
I think Don Bush using the USA or American
Mhm.
exchange rate
Yes.
as the
Like
as the
US
best.
or
Yes.
Europe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But if the emerging country and then underdeveloped country, maybe
Oh.
it is different with the theory maybe.
So in the
I don't think the relationship, there is a correlation, but not the relationship is correct.
mhm.
Because the US heavily imported
Mhm.
external product.
Mhm.
That's why when the price increase,
Mhm.
the value of the company that import product increase.
Mhm.
But for export,
Mhm.
heavily export, then when the price go down,
Mhm.
then the stock would go up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it depends upon the export-oriented country or import-oriented country. Yeah. So the effect of exchange rate might have different impact on stock prices. Yeah. How about also you just mentioned to some emerging economies. So the government has more intervention.
Yes.
So in that case, the exchange rate might have different impacts on stock prices. So it is not necessarily that both will have the same movement.
Yes.
Okay. So how about the other way? How about the effect of stock prices on exchange rates? Stock on exchange rate.
Stock and exchange rate.
If the stock, say S&P percent, just performs very well, will that attract more foreign investors?
Yes.
And that might increase the USD value, and then the USD will be strong. How do you think?
I think
Then it will
maybe for the US,
Oh, for the
like
US.
for the more like heavily controlled exchange rate,
Uh-huh.
then stock would not be an issue for the,
Oh,
but rather because like the exchange rate are dictated by the
the government. Oh.
So whether or not stock go up or down it doesn't have really big effect on the government
Oh.
because like a floating currency might be affected, but the semi or fully controlled currency wouldn't be affected.
Oh, so the government will keep the local currency from appreciating too much against the foreign currency. Okay, so that might be the case for the other countries outside the US. Okay, so let's just run these 4 regressions, and could you please just paste the results on the let's use the Word file. Okay, paste the results on the Word file.
Like the image.
Word, Word file, and then you just post the Word file to me.
Okay.
We can go back to the. I don't understand. Let's go back to the eView platform.
The e-views.
Yes. Like this result, we put it on the Word file.
Yes, just copy the.
In the learning, because of in the learning we cannot put the word, just copy paste the character. Sometimes the table is not.
But what you can upload if you make this an exercise, you can upload the file, the answer file onto the exercise.
Let me try. Okay, just paste it.
Yes,
Give
yes.
it a name. discussion forum.
Just one? We just do one? Okay.
Okay. Reply. We can do that. We can upload the Word file. And so maybe you can, underneath the table, you can put some explanation. To see why, when the stock price increases, that will benefit the economy's GDP. Any questions?
Yeah, my question is regard to the exercise. Because it's like we have 4 things to do, right?
Yeah, 4 things.
Are we recording? I'm not sure. Yeah, we are recording.
Yeah, here. Oh. No. Yeah, 4 things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We do for that one, this one, this one, this one.
Yes. It is on the discussion forum.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Mhm.
4 tables.
Yeah, 4 tables. And the deadline is tomorrow night. Do you have enough time to do that, or do you need more time?
We need more time.
Please, I got homework. I got a lot of.
Oh, so
We need more time.
Saturday night or Saturday night?
Saturday.
Saturday.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, Charlie, you will upload this before Saturday night?
I usually upload it by tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
Tomorrow, okay.
Let's do Sunday because
Sunday.
because I know that
The other 2 students.
my classmate doesn't know how to use eView yet.
Oh.
Maybe doesn't know how to use eViews yet. So
Oh.
they might take time.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's do Sunday night. Okay. March 28th.
Okay.
Oh, so Charlie, could you please just announce it on the line group?
Yes.
And I will also post an announcement to you to remind you that the exercise will be due by Sunday night.
A classmate of mine texted me. Last week I got little too much work, so I forgot to upload it. She texted me at 10 o'clock.
Oh.
Remind me to please upload.
Oh. Okay, so see you a week from today. Oh, next Thursday is Foolish Day, April 1st. Foolish Day.
What?
Yeah, right before the
we have
spring
day
break. No. Foolish Day.
So it is okay to tell the other class in the line group that there is no class on Thursday, when actually there is class.
Let's not do that.
I think people are waiting for us
Oh,
outside.
oh,
We should be moving.
oh, but they usually need to meet right after our class.
Yes.
Oh.
They usually meet at 4.
Oh. And Charlie, how to turn off the laptop?
So what?
The computer. I don't know how to turn off.